Happy second week of April. I don't even know how to say it. I had to include these beautiful flowers from my dear friend Heidi. Um, Yesterday, I just have to share excitement from on my end. I've been working, well, off and on, but I have the past 2.5 years it's taken me, and I just got my Norwegian accreditation. So what does that mean? That means that I'm an accredited genealogist not only in Sweden but also in Norway. And it just feels like I crossed the finish line. And she left these on my doorstep yesterday, and I just can't tell you just that thoughtful. She brought me that, some little chocolates and muffins, and thank you, Heidi. I hope you're listening. Heidi's one of my friends that was part of my life in Oregon, and so grateful for her and her kindness. I'm so happy to be back here with you this week to continue the discovery that we started last week, from the dream. It's been on my mind the last few days, ever since I had, it wasn't even a dream. I say a dream. Sorry, I took a little after Sunday afternoon nap and still waking up. But from that name that came to me in the night. If you didn't hear part one, you might want to go back and listen to that. So this will all make a little bit more sense. But we made a discovery and I was out of time. And so we're going to continue that discovery today. I had a name come to me in the night, and it actually was the brother of the missing child, Carl Gustav Anderson. And it turned out that he ended up being a very distant cousin, but he's still a cousin. Sometimes I get people say, well, that's really far away from me. But a connection is a connection, because ultimately we're all connected to God. We're all his children. And so we have the great blessing and responsibility to be the gatherers. And if a name comes to you in the night or in the day, or you stumble across something and you're connected, go for it. I do want to tell you that I have to share this with you. This is my favorite pen. You may have your own favorite pen. This one is a fine tip. It's 0.5, I think, and it's Muji. Or it's 0.38. Actually, this is a 0.38. I don't know if you can see that. I just ordered it on Amazon, and I just actually ordered some new ones. There's some that are clickable. I got the 0.50, and we're going to test those out. I really like this 0.38. It's archival safe. It's great for journaling. It's great for writing on the back of photos. One of the things that I like to do when I scan my photos or take a picture with my phone and then upload it to Family Search is I put a little check mark in the corner once it's been scanned and added, so that I know that that's been done. If that's something that's on your project list, this is a great recommendation for you. All right. I have some fun tips to share with you today. As we go through, we're going to finish. I don't know if we'll finish. Hopefully, we'll complete his family. But Carl Gustav Anderson, we're going to go back to him, and I'll take you on to Family Search, and then we'll share a little bit of the discovery. And I'll also share something that probably a few months ago I was trying to share. It was off and on available through MyHeritage, of how you can attach a source. Now, we talked about, and I'll review this with you now, but we talked about a new lab feature for MyHeritage. It's not completely functioning the way that I think it should, but I'll show you how there's two different ways you can see the ability to attach a record to MyHeritage once you've found it. So let's go ahead and share screen. All right, here we go. So let's jump into, oops, wrong one. Carl Gustav. So just to refresh you, I had a name come to me in the night, and it was Beria Anderson. And so when I woke up, or the next day, late in the evening, I went and just typed it on my phone because I was about to go to bed. And the name Lars Anderson had also been popping through my head. Those were the two names that stuck in my head. Well, when the first one that came up was this Lars Beria, or it was Lars Beria Nicholas Anderson. And I thought, well, has Beria in it, and it has Anderson, or Berger, as we would say it in the US, but Beria in Sweden. And the father was Lars. So I clicked on him, and when I viewed his relation, and I saw all his work was done, but when I clicked on view relationship, it said he was my 14th cousin. So I thought, okay, is it a coincidence that his father's name's Lars? He pops up, and there was a record to attach. So once I attached that, we found this missing Carl Gustav. and I was able to find a death date. And on the death date in the Swedish death book, it said that he was married. So I'm going to show you two different ways that we can look at records that are on MyHeritage. There's a Swedish website that we'll be actually doing a podcast about in the next couple of weeks. And I will explain how to use it. It's called Archive Digital. And if you've got Swedish ancestry and you've been a little intimidated thinking, I don't know if I can do this, you can. I have absolute confidence in you that you can do this. And it's super easy. And the website, Archive Digital, is actually quite inexpensive. You can use it for free at Family Search Centers or at the Family Search Library downtown. But if you decide you want the subscription, it's about $15 a month, which is, to me, I thought, I have my favorite treats, and buying a few less favorite treats if I needed to, I could do that. But it's worth it to be able to do it any time of day or night. And I think you'll be hooked once you see how easy it is to use. But for our intents and purposes today, for this Swedish family, we are going to be in MyHeritage. So we've got Carl Gustaf Andersson. I'm on his page. You can see that there's no spouse and no children right now. So we came across a discovery at the end of last week's podcast, and I'm going to take you to it. I do want to show you right here. We'll talk about this in a minute. This MyHeritage matches right here. This is what I turned on in the Family Search Labs on the main page. And we can do a refresher after we go through this family. But right below it, under the search records, these are all the links to the Family Search affiliate websites. And if you're a member of the church, you can have free access to all of those. So if you haven't heard on my previous podcast, if you come down to the very bottom over here on the right-hand side, you see third-party access, and you can click on any of these and you can link it to your Family Search account for free. So this is an underutilized, I think, blessing that we have. And so I highly recommend that you join that. So I have already logged in, and that was another tip I have given is make sure you're logged into that website before you start clicking on these on the right. Otherwise, you'll have to log in and then you won't see what you were hoping to find. Because once you're logged in, if you click on any of these right here under search records, it will take you directly to the information page about your person. So Carl Gustaf Andersson. Otherwise, if I click on that, it'll just take me to the main MyHeritage page, log in. Once you log in, you won't see any information about Carl. You'll have to go back to Family Search, click on the MyHeritage link, and then you'll see it. So we're going to click on I want to show you the difference between the two. If I click on this MyHeritage Matches, and I come in here, let's watch. We're going to go to View Hints, and I get 5 matches, 4 pending. So what does the 4 pending mean? Remember, this has connected me through the lab. And we talked about the lab last week, and I said I wasn't really too happy with what it was doing. It said I connected it, but it did not add it as a source in Family Search. But I will show you another way that we can add it as a source in Family Search. So this says I've matched it, review match. When I click on this is what we came across last week. The other ones have not been matched, but it didn't affect my family tree at all. It just, on MyHeritage, it's saying I looked at it. So I would love it if the programmers would get it to the point where it will connect. And maybe by the time you watch this, it will. So if we come down, let's look at this. So this is the indexed information. His birth date is 19th of May, 1894. If we go back to Family Search, here we are, 19th of May, 1894, Örebro. So I know this is my guy. So I come back here, and he's living between 1939 and 1946. He's living in Nyköping in Södermanland, and it says a marriage date, December 20th, 1941. And his wife is Berta Alexandra, and then this F is Foda or Born Ekblom, and they have a daughter, Kirsten Merta Margareta. And right here, we've got this source here. And in the past, I've had to highlight that and paste it, but they actually have a new way to cite the sources now. And I'll show it to you right down here at the bottom. You click Cite this record. Look at this. I can copy this to my clipboard. And then it says copy and paste this text to your genealogy software website. So I can go back, and I'm going to pay attention. This is 1939 to 1946. It's a household record. I'm going to go back to Family Search, and I'm going to create a source for Carl Gustaf. So I'll click on Sources, and I'll click Add Source. And I'm going to a new source. It's not a memory source because I'm not putting a picture of this because we've talked about copyright issues, and we don't want to put a picture of the image if it came from a website, a paid website, but we'll put the link. So I can do add new source right here. And I'm going to put that citation in the citation box. It's the fourth box down. And then I'm also going to put the web link. So let's come back here, copy the web link, and somebody will have to have a MyHeritage account to be able to access it, but they'll be able to click and go straight to it if they're logged in. And then I'm going to put Carl Gustav Anderson. Then I'm going to do household record. So it's called a household record. It's a household examination in earlier times when they were asking them religious information. By this time, that was not part of this document. They were becoming a little bit more secularized. And if I scroll through this, I can see my date again, which was, I think, 1939. Let's see where the date is. Oh, 1939 to 1946. So I put that in, 1939 to 1946. And I've got that there. So my notes, what's really nice that you can come back here and I can copy this right here, this indexed information. So I'm just going to copy this right here. This is the really easy peasy way to add it into here. And then I know that I have a wife and daughter in here. Let's say I get distracted and I don't ever come back to this. Somebody else will be able to see this and be able to add that. And then the reason this proves his marriage to Bertha and his daughter Kirsten. And I could put more, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to be quick. So now I make sure that I have all my fields filled out. I'm going to say I get his name, sex, and birth from this record. That will tag this source to those dates in the tree, and it gives more validity for the information that I have in the tree. And then I click save. So what's beautiful is now that I have this source created, it's going to be in my source box. And your source box is kind of like your filing cabinet for your sources. I now can go to his wife, create her, and I'll be able to add that same source to her. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to click add spouse. And I know her name was Bertha and I forgot the rest. So I can come over here and I can actually copy this whole thing right here. Oops, let's try copying again. Copy. And I'm just going to paste that in there. And then the Foda Ekblom, that's her. Foda is for born. So Ekblom. And I don't know what the date was, so I need to look at this record a little more closely. They didn't index it there. So what I can do is go down here to the actual image. I always say, look at the actual image. And I'm going to make it bigger. And over here on the side, they've indexed it as 7 August 1905. So I'm going to copy that, but then before I paste it, I'm going to go to the record and just make sure. So we're going to make this a little bigger. And I want to be in full screen. I don't know why it's doing this top part, but let's just do this. So we're going to look for Bertha. There she is. H is for Hustru, which is wife, and then Carl Gustav Anderson. You might be like, wow, that is wild. So here he is. She is Bertha Alexander Ekblom. There's her birth date, so 1905. So she's about 11 years younger than her husband. And they were married. This looks like it's probably the marriage. Yep. Gift is marriage, so this is their marriage date. The year, day, and month. And if you come down, so they got married in the 20th of December, 1941. And he was born in Orebro. And this is an abbreviation, and I'm not sure what that is. It might be Nyköping. So we'd have to look that up. It could be the parish name. But we know that her birth date is the 7th of August. Remember, in Sweden, if you've heard any of our other podcasts, that in Sweden, for the most part, they put the month on the bottom and the day on the top. It's like a fraction. Probably a handful of times in the 20 years I've been doing this, he's flipped it. And the way you know is if you see a 31 on the bottom and a 12 at the top, you know it's December 31st and he's just being rogue. So Bertha Alexander, and she 7/8/1905. And I already copied that. And I'm not sure where this is at this point. So right now I'm just going to go back. I'm going to paste that date in there. I can mark her as deceased because I'm confident that she is not alive, 114 years old. Let's see if we can get rid of that space. There we go. And birthplace, I'm going to just put Sweden for now, and I will add the rest of the information later. So I'm going to say next, and we'll see if she's in there. She was not in there. I love these discoveries. You were right here along with me of finding this missing man and missing wife now. So we're going to say create person. And now we know he actually got married a little bit later in life. So we're going to click, let me walk this through. So this pencil right here allows me to add a marriage date. Because if we go in here under ordinances for him, you can see that it does say it's available for sealing to spouse, but we should have a marriage date if we've got one. So let's click the pencil. And then where it says add event, you can add a marriage here. You can add a divorce here. You can also add a live together. So that's what I'll say live together if it was an illegitimate child. They were at least together for a night to conceive that child. So if a common law, there's no proof they ever married and they were never listed as spouses, you can do that. And if there was a divorce or an annulment or a divorce, you can put that here. So this marriage date, I've got to go back and look at that. That was the 20th of December, 1941. So we're going to put 20 December 1941. And we know it's in Sweden. It's probably in Örebro, but it could be in Södermanland. So I'm going to just put Sweden for now. And then what I like to do, the reason this is correct, I'm going to come back to this. And do you remember how we had that source? I don't remember if it's still saved on my clipboard. I'm going to come back here and copy to clipboard. I like to have it in several places. I don't think we can source information too much. I put this in here. So I paste that in there and that gives me the source and it gives me all of that information that we got from there. And then I say save. So I'm going to use that same information for any other sources that I create. I already created one with that. And so I won't have to use that again. But if I did for if I lost that, if I copied something else, I know that I have the ability to go back and copy it again. So now we have these two, but we did have one more person in that record that we can add. And her name is Kirsten Marta Margareta. So I'm just going to highlight that and copy it. And then I'm going to come back here to add child. And I will paste that in there. And then her last name, at this point, many of you heard of patronymics and they would take the father's last name. In the 1900s, they just took the father's last name instead of his first name plus the last name. So patronymics is a child. If she was the son of Carl, she would be Carl's daughter. But after 1900, that went into kind of to become obsolete. And they would just take the father's last name. So she will be Anderson. And in rare instances, they could choose a different name, but we're just going to put her as female and deceased. And now we've got to go back and find her date of birth. And here we've got it. So I can copy that. And I'm going to actually look in the record again. See, I just copied this, so that got rid of the site record that I had copied. So I come back in and I use these little teeny pluses because it's very, very finicky and it goes kind of crazy. There she is. So she was born, I'm going to have to go one more in. Ooh. It looks like the 10th. So he's doing 10 and then a slash. 10th of July, that's a 7, 1932. So there's a possibility she still could be alive. So we're going to mark her as living for right now. Paste her date in there and we will say it's in Sweden at this point. And next. Okay, so she's in there right now. Create person. So what I want to do is I want to add the source that we corrected or created that went into the source box. We're going to add that into to both Berta and Kirsten. So I click on Berta. See, she has no sources. And my hope is I can get a little bit more information besides just Sweden. But first we'll add the source and we're going to go down to attach from source box. Once we come in here, it will be the last one that we created. You can see that that's in this order. I could filter it and I can change it to show me sources with no dates, or I can show a date range. I can ask it to show certain types of sources. For now, I want to leave it. I love what it does right now where it's at the top. If you want to do multiple sources, if I had this one and this one, this one does not belong, but let's say I had multiple sources, I could click several to attach. I'm just doing the one, and I'm going to click attach. And the reason I'm attaching it is proves marriage to Carl Gustav Anderson. I could put also her daughter, and I could add daughter, but I'm just going to say this right now. Okay, so we've got that attached there. Now we're going to attach it to the daughter. So now we scroll down to Kirsten. And I really want to know for sure if Kirsten died. So I'm going to take you into the Sveriges Dødbok. There's a lot of different places. Ancestry we could try. May have a death record. There may be cemetery records. So I'll show you a couple of those. So we're going to go to sources and add the source from the source box. And again, we just go over to the right hand side, click attach, and I will say proves she is the daughter of Carl Gustav and Bertha, and then attach. And now you can see the paper clip over here, it's attached. So we're going to go back. So what I want to do is I have this birth date, and I have Kirsten. I'm going to remember 10th of July, 1932, and then Kirsten. I'm going to copy her entire name. She could have immigrated to America. Sometimes when I don't find people in the Sveriges Dødbok, which is the Swedish death book, it's here on Rotter, and you can get it by a subscription for a year. It's, I think, around $50, $49. So it says I'm logged in right now, but once I refresh, it's going to have me log in again. And you might say, well, this is all in Swedish. I can't read it. It really, actually, you can say in English. It will do that for some of it, not all of it, but it's super easy to navigate. So the logga in looks very much like English. Once you've created an account, that's how you'll come in, and I have it always saved. So it just will come there, and then it always pops up in this left corner. And this is to go shopping. So KO with 2 dots P shop here. So you can shop if you want to get like the actual flash drive that you can put into your computer. I paid for the web version, and so I can say begin searching. There's so much more on Rotter than just this, but we could do that at another date. So this is where you search. You can do an advanced search. Most of the time, I'm just fine with this little search. So I'm going to paste her name in there, and now I've forgotten her birth date. 10th of July, 732. Now, one of the things that I run into problems with this, if I get no results, is either the name was spelled differently. It's very picky on this. It has to be exact. So then I have to play around with that. Or the birth date is wrong. Sometimes that happens in the records, that by the time they died, their birthday could have been written off by even one day. So we'll just see how this goes. So and they like you to have the year 1932 and then the day and the month, and it was 0710. So I have her name. Sometimes I have to get rid of the wife's last name, and actually I'm going to do that right now, because if she married, they're going to put her married name when she died. And then we're going to just do the search, and nothing came up for her. So she may not be listed by that entire name. So I'm just going to do Kirsten. Let's just try Kirsten. And Kirsten could be spelled in many different ways. And she may not have died yet. She may still be alive. So here's one. But it's Kirsten Ingeborg. Here's a Kirsten Marta Maria. She was born in Linköping. And what was ours? Margareta. I don't know if that's hers. So at this point, I'm like, she may still be alive. I'm not sure. So I'm gonna leave her as living at this point. And we're gonna just focus on the mom, and I'll show you how I would search for her. So I'm going to do the Berta Alexandra, and her birthday is 7 August 1905. So I come back here, and I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do the Ekblom, because she'll probably be listed as Anderson. And then her birth date, oops, I just forgot what her birth date was. Let's see. So she was the 10th of July, 1932. So come in here, 1932, 0710. All right, and then we'll search, and let's hope she comes up. She did not come up. Oh, did I put the right date? No, I put her mom's date. That's why she didn't come up. Here we go, 7 August, 1905. It always helps to put the correct information when you're searching. 1905, 0807. So 08 for August, 7 for the day. And here we are. Is that not so cool? If you have Swedish ancestry, this and Archive Digital are like the go-tos for your family. So here we have Berta Alexander Anderson, born on this date in Nyköping, Östra. So if we go back to this little, that must be what this is. I think this is his Nyköping, Östra, and he's got a little squiggle over the top. So he's using the squiggle. Now I can see that for his O with the 2 dots. So you learn things all the time. At first, you're kind of like, what in the world are you writing? And the more you look at it, then all of a sudden things will pop open to you. So we can actually go back here to her. And we're going to go to her mom. Well, actually, Kirsten was as well. She was in Nyköping, Östra as well. So Nyköping. And you don't have to do all of them. When you're typing this out on Family Search, you do not have to put the diacritics on there. Nyköping, Östra, and there she is, Soderman. So I can click on that. Again, I like to put the reason this is correct, so I'm going to come back here at the bottom, copy this to my clipboard, and I'm going to paste this in there. Save. So that way, if somebody goes in to edit that, they'll be able to see right here, there's the information, but it'll also be in the sources. So we have that, and then let's go to her mom. And now we have actually... Let's see if we put that in there. We have not yet, so let me put that in there. And I'm going to do Nyköping, Östra, and 7 August 1905. Okay, we've got that, but now we have a death. So let's go back to our Sveriges Dödbok. So we've got Berta Alexander. She died in the 27th of March 1991, and so this is where she died in this one, Nyköpings Allahelgona. So if you click on it, if you just click anywhere on this line, watch this. This opens up to the whole page. It tells me some information about her. If you don't know any of these words, you can easily put them into Google Translate and you'll be able to find them. So it says that she was a woman, 86 years old. She was a widow, Inca. And she became a widow at this date. So now we know the date of her husband. So Carl Gustaf's death date was the 9th of March, 1973. Let's see if we actually had that. We may have. Look at that. 9th of March, 1973. So it confirms that this is our woman. This is her birthplace. And now here's her death place. So I usually will copy the place, whichever one I think is going to take longer to type. And I will remember 27 March 1991. I go back to Family Search and I click on her and I do 27 March 1991 and then I can paste. And Nyköpings Allahelgona is not really coming up. So let's see. We're going to choose the top one, the best one for our purposes. And I'm going to come back here to the best way that I have. There's not really a great way to cite this. So I'm going to copy all this like this. And this is a lot in that little box, but I'm going to do that so they know exactly where it came from. And then I'll copy the website. So I'll come back here to Family Search and I'm going to paste that in there. I'm also going to put that in the as part of a source citation. And then I'm just going to put right here, instead of copying the website, I'm just going to put Sveriges Dödbok for right now, because we'll have that in the source. Okay, now we're going to create a source. So this is, hopefully this is a good review for you, even if you know how to do sources. Just a reminder, source. So let's add a new source, and I'm going to paste that citation immediately. I don't want to lose that. Then I can come back and I can go and copy the web link, which is right here. And then I can come back and paste that in this web link. This will help you. It'll help anybody else to be able to go back that and to see that. So she was 27 March, and I can't remember the date. You probably are remembering it and saying 1991. Okay, 1991. I put that in there, and we're going to say Berta. And so now she was listed as Alexandra. She wasn't Ekblom. She was Anderson when she died. So we're going to put that in there, and we're going to say death record. And then the notes, we have all of that information right here. That was really part of, that's really not the citation. I think I'm going to change that. I'm going to do this and paste this in here. We're going to copy this. And really my citation would be I guess this is a good time to actually show you what I would like to do for my citation. So I'm going to copy the web link, and I'll show you using Gemini one way that I like to create a citation. So if I go to Gemini, I'm going to do a new chat. So if you haven't used Gemini, Gemini is associated with Google, and it is AI that you can use for free. I'm using Gemini Pro. Absolutely love it, especially for translating or transcribing documents. So I'm going to say, please create a citation, and I need to say who it's about, for Berta Alexandra, and I'm going to say Ekblom Anderson, death record, and then I'm going to say, let's see if I got the right, I don't think I got the whole thing. Let me go back here. I'm going to say, just going to put the website, we'll see what it does on this one. Okay, and I did the fast version. You can also do, there's also a thinking for complex. So this gave me a very basic citation, but you do this and you will look professional. You will be able to make it easy for somebody else to find it, including yourself. And it tells you the date that it was accessed, just in case the website goes down. So we're going to copy this. Actually, you don't even have to highlight that. Let me show you better. You can click copy response right there. Now I come back into family search and I pasted that. Is that not amazing? I'm going to show you another way to do that with, we talked about Papers Past, which is the New Zealand newspapers. I'm going to show you how to do that. And it's so incredible. So from this, we get her name, we got her sex, we got her birth, and we got her death. We don't have a burial. I don't know where she was buried, but I will save that there. And now I have a record for her death, and I have a record for her when she was living. I don't have a birth record yet. And that's where when we go into, when I teach you about how to use the Archive Digital, I can show you that way. Another way that we could do it is actually, I'll just take you in here into Ancestry. Let's see what we can find. Ancestry is another place that you can go for Swedish records. So here somebody actually has a tree, and I always say, look at those trees for clues and then go find the original sources. So we can see it says her father's Otto Hjalmar Ekblom. Sounds like that's right. Birth date, 7th of August. That matches. Death. This one's saying died in Germany. So I don't know why they're saying she died in Germany when we have a death here. 27 March 1991. 27 March 1991. Maybe she was visiting there and this was just her address. So that's something that we could figure out. And let's see. So here we have an index birth record, Sweden index birth records, and here's 7 August 1905. Watch this. So I click on that, and there's the father, Otto Hjalmar Ekblom and Ellen Alexandra Anderson. That's incredible. So I love being able to use Ancestry as well. So what we're going to do is actually, I'm going to pull my curtain shut a little bit. It's a little bit warm in here. All right. I'm going to show you another way that you can attach this information, because right now I'm not going to finish working on this family because I want to show you a couple of other things, and I'll come back to this when I'm done. And some of you may say, well, is she related to you? Should I work on this? And hopefully you remember what I've talked about is when you are on this family, you may be the closest chance that they may have in this life to get into family search, so they'll be able to be found by their family. So she's the spouse of my cousin. I can do her. I can't do her parents, but somebody else can. And it'll take me just a few minutes to add them. And then somebody else who may be closely related will be able to then work on that family. And like I've talked about before, sometimes when you continue to add that family in, it actually connects into your own line. So you may be connected another way. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I have it actually, here's the Nyköping Östra. Sometimes they have a christening date within here. So let's go look at the original image. And this is not as touchy as Ancestry. So we can see here, Fora is birth, year and month and day. So here's August 7th. and she's a girl, so it's marked in this column K. M is Mankon, which is boy. Kvinkon is girl. Berta, and there's her father, Otto Hjalmar. He's a farmer, worker. And he's in, there's Ekblom, and there's the mother, Ellen Alexandra Anderson, and there are their birth dates. Is that not incredible? That's why it's so important to go in and look at their records. It does have an index here. Sometimes it does not. So I'm going to leave that open, and I'm going to copy his name, Otto Hjalmar Ekblom, and he might be in Family Search. Often when we come in here, and she might even be in there, and then we'll prevent some duplication of work. So we'll paste that in, and then I'm going to just type the Ekblom and get rid of it on the other. There we go. He's a male and deceased, and we're going to come back. Let's see where that was on Ancestry, and I can copy his birth date right here, and I verified it. Always verify before you just move forward with it. We don't have a place. Likely it's in Södermanland, but we'll just put Sweden to start out with, and then we'll add a little bit more. So we put his birth date in, and then we'll put Sweden. And I'm going to actually add the wife as well, because if he's already in there and we don't have a specific area, it's going to give the computer more information to be able to find them. And so her name was Ellen Alexandra, which is where probably that Alexandra came from. All right, let's go back here, and we'll put her name in there and get rid of the Anderson and put Anderson. I'm so glad you're here with me to make these discoveries, and I hope going through this gives you ideas of what you can do. So here we've got, actually, it looks like there's two duplicates. There's an Otto and one with Ellen Alexandra with no birth date. It looks like neither of them do. This one, there's a birth date for him and Ellen Alexandra with a birth date. This one I know for sure is him, based on these two, and I'm pretty sure on this one. So there's a couple of options. You can add the first one, or you could add the second one, and then you can merge the duplicates. You can also right-click on the name here. I'm going to open the link in a new tab, and that's generally what I do. I want to go and look at it and make sure, see who else is attached in there. Let's see if Berta's already in there. And here's an Ellen Elizabeth Carlson Ekblom. So this was taken from a christening, most likely because the parents don't have any information. Look over on the right side. There's that duplicate that we just saw. And then here's several household records. So I could click on one of these. This is not going to impact my tree at all. It does say his birthplace was Gryth with a period. And he's married, and there's the marriage date. And if I go down, we see an Ellen Elizabeth. There's Ellen Greta and Niels. I would love to see one that has our Berta in it. Then I know for sure that that's our people. I'm very confident it is, but it's nice to be able to see that proof. And none of those ones right there show it, but if we go back here, it actually says there's 21 research helps, a lot. So I can click show all, and remember we're in the one that was just kind of that hint that this might be them. So I can scroll through here, and let's see if we see, there's Berta Alexandra right there. So now I feel very confident that I can attach either of those. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to go with this one because it has a birth date, and then we'll end up merging them anyway. So I'm going to say add match and select couple. Look at that. So now that already had this entire family. We have Berta Alexandra. Is there another one? No. But look at this one. There's a lot of kids with no dates. So now we're going to go and see if we can find that other duplicate for him. If I go here and look, they're in the process of having their work done. Is that not incredible? So because I'm working on attaching Berta to her family, I'm attaching into a family that somebody is already working on. So they may then be able to do the sealing and all the work for this family. So I'll be able to focus on Carl Gustav and Berta and Carl to his family, and then they'll be able to work on this side. So let's go to Otto. And we need to add, this one does not have the Ekblom. At some point he took on Ekblom, and we could type it in here, but it's already going to be here. So when we do possible duplicate, it'll just bring it over. So I'm going to say review merge. Now I'm merging duplicates. Remember that it'll give you this is going to be what's your final result. If you want it to look differently, if you don't like these ones, you can change it with the checkbox if it has the option. So I do want this entire full name here. So I'm going to click the box And you see on the right how it changed his name. And then I'm going to scroll down and it brings over all of these residences, which helps with the timeline. And there's Ellen Alexandra. See, she has this ID T2W9D519, and she will end up with this final ID here. This is going to be archived and merged. The information will be merged in here. So Ellen Elizabeth, here she is. She's 5BB. And let's see if there's an Ellen Elizabeth over here. There's not. There's an Ellen Elizabeth here. And so then these are likely the same person, which would then be merged, and then she would have a birth date. So this is a family that needs a little bit more work after we're done here, and so I will work on that. So we're going to say merge, and I then put the reason that it's the same. First and last names matched for the most part, birth information matched, spouse matched, and the children matched. So then we're going to say merge. And now we've cleaned up a duplicate, which we always want to do. Otherwise, there will be work that will be duplicated. So I have 23 research helps that I can come back and work on. The other thing is sometimes when I find somebody that's in Family Search and then I click on View Relationship, sometimes there's a relation, sometimes not. So if I click on him, right now it's relationship unknown. But as his tree gets continued to be built, I may have a connection. So he's got parents here. This is another problem you probably see a lot. And I'd like to just show you just a little tip on this. If you find this box with a duplicate. So this one has 10 children. And it's Anna Charlotta Rundgren. And here's Anna Charlotta Rundgren. And there's 10 children here. There's a possibility when I merge these two women, because see, this one ends in NWH and this one ends in HLC, that we could have 20 children. Hopefully not. If I click on this drop down, Otto Hjalmar, he's the exact same because he's blue and blue here and the number's the same. Anna Lovisa, she's DJT and NXJ. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. Then we have Oscar Martin. Is he down here? There's Oscar Martin. So I'm going to end up with 20 kids that I'm going to have to merge. But I'm going to get you to that point and then I'll work on that later. So I'm going to copy this ID. So I click on this. And then I do this. Then I come up here to Anna Charlotta, click on her and go to person. Sometimes the computer picks it up, and it did. If it did not, you're going to just scroll down here to merge by ID. And so we're going to just click on this one right here and review merge. Here we go. So we've got this merge duplicates. We can see this is the final information. Let's see if there's anything better on this side. And nothing better. What it will do is it's going to bring all of those kids over. So we're going to have, see, look at this, all of that. We're going to say merge. And we're going to say first and last names, spouses, children, and I think even birth matched, and say merge. Wow, this has been fun. I'm glad. I hope you're still with me. I hope you find this as fun as I do. It's so fun to do the discovery and walk through the process. So let's look at this family now. So there's 10 children there. And so now what we have is we have the mother attached to all of these kids. So you say, well, what do I do on this? This looks very complicated. And in reality, it actually ends up being pretty clean and not too hard. One of the keys is keep the mother here. She's in pink. Keep her there because she's the one down here. We're going to merge all of these kids. And once we've merged them, then we can unlink them with the pencil button. And I'll show you just with one example, and then we'll get back to our original people, Carl Gustav. So let's see. So we've got Otto Hjalmar. Okay, this is a great example. Otto has the exact same ID here as here. So on this one, all we're going to do is unlink. So we click the pencil. Always make sure that that it is really truly a duplicate on both. And so then we come here underneath Otto's name, remove or replace. And then you check this box saying, I have reviewed this relationship. I know that this is a duplicate. It needs to be removed or it's incorrect. And I'm going to say remove. And I'm just going to say duplicate relationship. It's the same mother. It's just duplicated on her page. Relationship and then remove. Okay, so now that he is now removed from here. See, now there's 9, and he's up here. Let's look at Ana Luisa. Here she is here with no date or anything. I'm going to copy her ID, and I'm going to come up here to Ana Luisa and click on her name. And she's in the process. She's been shared with the temple. And remember, if any of you are watching this and you don't know where to go on your tree, or you don't have much of a tree, you are welcome to come in here to Ana Luisa and reserve her, anybody in her family that's been shared with the temple, and help get her work done. So that is the fabulous thing about us. It's kind of a crowdsourcing way to help each other get our temple work done. So I'm going to scroll down. See, it does not show that she's a duplicate there. I'm going to come down here and say merge by ID and continue. Again, this is the final result, and we're checking to see on this duplicate if it's bringing anything over, and you can see there's really nothing on this side. There's her mother and those other siblings, which were already down here. So then we're going to come down here and say merge. And we're just going to say first and last names match. That's pretty much it. And I guess mother. So we'll just have to say parents because that's all it showed on that bottom one. Okay, so now we have Ana Luisa Carlson. So now it's popped us over to her. We want to stay on the mother because that's where the duplicate mother with all those kids was. So we click on Ana Charlotta again. But you probably notice what I notice. She has no spouse. Oh, that's something to keep in the back of your mind. Write down. That's something future, if this was your family, to look for the spouse, if she had one. So we're going to go to Ana Charlotta. And we're going to, and you can see there's several sources we can attach for her as well. Let's come back down to that duplicate. Here we are. So now Ana Luisa ends in NXJ. NXJ. So we know that this is the exact same person. I click on the pencil, remove or replace, and remove parents. And I'm just going to say duplicate relationship. And I will go through and finish those later. So I hope that gives you a good idea of what to do when you have that kind of a problem. You've got kids attached above and below, different IDs. And so now we're down to 8. So that's something that I will work on. So let's duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate this tab. And let's go back to recents. We're going to go back to our Carl. Where is he? Carl Gustav. Let's go back to him. All right, here's Carl. We now have a birth date, a death date. We have 5 sources for him. We have 2 sources for Berta Kirsten. We also want to look and see, are there any records, research helps to find there? And we would look at Berta as well. Do we have any records we could attach for her? There are some MyHeritage matches, and remember that is the experiment right now. It's under the labs. We could go to that and look at those. I want to show you another trick that we tried to show a few months ago, and it wasn't working right. This was probably in the fall. Well, now it's working. If I go to MyHeritage, and it has her name here, her birth date, and then it adds, we've got a little bit more information here about a birth and death. I can see that what it pulls up for me is a MyHeritage family tree, and it lists all of her siblings, and sometimes they will end up listing the married names, which is great. And then here's this household record for her, and here's another household record. So I'm going to show you how you can now add a record from MyHeritage to Family Search. So let's go back to Berta for a minute. Remember, she has 2 sources. So when I come back here, I know that this is her, so I'm going to click View Record. And when you scroll down, obviously you will look at the record. Just looking at this with all these names squished in here, that shows me that she's probably working somewhere. It could be a factory, it could be a big farm, and she's working there with a lot of other single people. Usually you'll see gaps between families. There will be a space in the record, and then you know that it's families that are living together. So she's still single at this point. Down here at the bottom, this attached source to Family Search. A few episodes ago in the fall, this was not working, but now it is. So you click Attach Source to Family Search, and look at this beautiful source. It has the date, it has everything typed in for you. The biggest thing you need to do is you can put a reason. I'm just going to put name, birth, there's no death, Christine, sex it does include. And I don't need to add it to my source box because there's nobody else in the family that I could see that's connected, but there is a chance that she could have a sibling once I go analyze it. So I'll just click add to my source box and say save. So now the source is created. And now you can, this is what I was hoping that I demonstrated last week with the labs, and it's still not working to do that. I anticipate that's what it's supposed to do, but watch this. With this one, where we clicked on one of those affiliate links on the side, we're able to do that, attach source. If you come back here, now she has 3 sources. Is that not incredible? So cool. I absolutely love it. All right. I wanted to show you, I have so many things I want to share, but we've gone a little long today, but I do want to show you a very cool thing. We talked a little bit about Papers Past, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and about sourcing it. So let me go to a recents that I was just recently on. Here's James Alexander Dunn. I think we had some records on him. So this is a relative of mine in New Zealand. He's a 4th cousin. And he says he died in Hamilton. So what I can do on Papers Past, I'm going to come back in here and we're just going to see, there's a Joseph Benjamin Dunn, and that actually is related to him. That might be his dad. Let's go back. That might be easier. Yes, Joseph Benjamin. Let's go to him. So I typed in Papers Past, and if you're new and this is your first one you've listened to, Papers Past is an example of a free newspaper site for another country. Beyond, just like in the US, we have newspapers.com, Newspaper Archives, Genealogy Bank. Just remember there are so many newspaper sites and many of them are free. MyHeritage actually has old news. That's a paid one. But all of these are great places to find information about your family. New Zealand records are a little bit trickier to find, and so those newspapers are super helpful. So I'm going to take you to the main page again, just to show you how this is. So Papers Past. When you come to the main page, you're going to click on newspapers on the left in the green. And then I'm just going to search the newspaper. So I'm going to do, I think was it Joseph Benjamin? Hopefully that's right. Oh, I should come up with it. Benjamin Dunn. There you go. And then I'm just going to, look, you can do it in Maori or English. Maori, I guess is how you really say it. So I have 68 newspaper articles about him. And I just started doing this today. So Joseph Benjamin Dunn, it turns out, was a hotel owner. So he's listed in a lot of newspaper articles. I just want to show you a really easy way that you can use for this or any other website for creating a source citation, and also just kind of address a little bit about copyright. So for the most part, newspapers are copyrighted unless they specifically say that is available for use. So let me scroll down and see if I can find, let me go to the next page. A lot of these, one was about having a liquor license. This one's kind of fun because it says he had the Shortland Hotel. This one actually is him making a notice. So let's go to a public notice. Let's go to that. When we look at this, he's actually down, usually it's in highlighted. There you go. So it says it's an application for a permanent transfer of license. So it says Joseph Benjamin Dunn of Manaia, and he was a holder of a publican's license. So he had a pub and he had a hotel. And so it goes through this and he applies to the licensing committee. So I get an idea that he was, in 1934, he still had this hotel. It didn't actually say the name of the hotel on there. But we're going to go with this one for now. I'm just going to add it, so you can see. So what I would do first is I look at this and it says, use of this item. This was from 19th of December, 1934. Stuff Limited is the copyright owner for the Taranaki Daily News. You can reproduce in copyright material from this newspaper for non-commercial use under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 license. So I used Gemini just to make sure that this was okay to add to Family Search. And Gemini gave me the answer that yes, it was okay to use it specifically for that. If I was going to publish it anything, that is not okay. If I was going to use it for a paid client and put it in there, then that was also not okay. But in order, I could put it on Family Search. So I wanted to create a source for this. So I copied this, and I wanted to copy this so that it would put that in my citation. So I Command C on a Mac, and his name is Joseph Benjamin Dunn. And this was just an application for license transfer. They actually say that you should put the title of it, whatever it is. So it would be better to put this entire thing right there. So I'm going to go to Gemini, and I'm going to do a new chat, and I'm going to say, please create a source citation for, and if you're a genealogist and you want to have it be in a specific format, Chicago style or Elizabeth Shown Mills, then you'll say that. And so I could say an Elizabeth Shown Mills, and then you can compare it with the standard to make sure it's right. Shown Mills. I think that sun might be a little too bright right there. Let's see. 4, and then I'm going to say Joseph Benjamin Dunn, and then I'm going to do comma, and then I want the title. I'm actually going to paste that information that I got from there, and then I'm going to say, let's go back to him. Where was that? Papers passed. So let's see. I don't know if it's going to let me copy this. I don't think it will. So I had notice of application for permanent transfer. Let's see. And I'm going to say Joseph Benjamin Dunn, and I'm going to put it up here. Notice for permanent, so that's the title, application of license to purchaser or assignee. This is a long one. License purchaser or assignee, and you'll have to double check. I'll have to double check to make sure I typed it right because it's kind of long. Of licensed premises. Sometimes it might just be marriage record. It's a lot easier than this. Licensed premises. Okay, so because it knows what the date is today, it's going to put an access date on this. So I'm going to change it. We can do fast. You could do thinking. We'll just go with thinking because I want to make sure it does a really good job. And thinking mode may be only available on Pro version, but you can do the other one. So now it's defining the source citation and it's refining it. So here is a full reference note. Here's a short one. Here's a bibliography entry. There's a breakdown, tells you a little bit about it. So I can then come up here and I can go, I'm going to copy. We'll see if it copies the whole thing or just part of it. And because that was a long response. And if I go back here to my family tree, Joseph Benjamin Dunn, I'm going to create I can add it as a memory, and then I can do a memory source. So I come here to memories. I'm going to say add memory and upload. This time it's going to be one with a memory. And so I haven't even created that yet. Let's do it a little bit. Let's go back here to the newspapers. I need to clip it first. So the way you clip it on a Mac is Command-Shift-4, and you'll get these this little icon right here. You can also use your snipping tool. It's some little scissors on a Microsoft computer. If you type in the bottom corner under search SNIP, it will come up and you can actually right click on it and save it to your little toolbar down at the bottom. So we're going to clip it like this. See if we can get it down to here. There we go. And now it's saving it to my desktop or my recents. So what I'll do is I'll go back here to him. I'm going to click add memories and upload, and I'm going to select my file. Now remember that newspapers.com, any newspapers, paid newspaper sites, you have to make sure that there is no copyright issue. This one, there is not a copyright issue. Every newspaper on this Papers Passed has a different little notice. Some of them say there is no copyright. Some of them say it is allowed under this Creative Commons license. So I have it clipped under recents, and it was the last one here, right here. I click on it and I say upload. And then I'm going to, under description, I'm going to put the citation. So I do Command V or Control V. And that gave me the entire thing, which I do not want. So I'm going to delete that. that gave me the whole thing. So let's go back here. So if your response is short, then this copy is great. If not, come up here and just highlight this right here. And it has his name, it has the newspaper, where you got it, the website, the date you accessed. And I don't know, it did not put in, sometimes it'll put in the copyright information. So I'm going to make sure that I put that in there so that it is evident that it is okay to use. So I'm going to paste that. And then I'm going to go back to that newspaper article and I'm going to copy this right here. And I'm going to paste that in there. We want to make sure that everyone knows, including Family Search, that this is able to go on to this website. So then I'm going to put the title of this is this little notice right here. And I'm going to put that right here because you want to make sure you have a title that matches what is in the newspaper. This helps to protect the copyright. Put the title of the newspaper article, make sure you have a citation, and then I recommend showing the proof that you have the permission to do that. So then the place, I'm going to double check. I think this is in Taranaki. Yep, Taranaki. So we're going to put Taranaki, New Zealand. And then the date we have up here, 19 December 1934. And we'll put that there. And then we'll say continue. And I'm going to make it public. And done. He's deceased, so it's great. So now it's processing. And once it's done processing, it'll be visible for everyone. What you can do, since I don't have a picture for him, if I wanted for this article, I could come here and click on the little circle. And anything that's in my gallery, I can put in that image. So I could come in here and I could do this, Joseph Benjamin Dunn, say save. And now that will show up in that circle showing I have an actual document that lists him. Whew, what a journey. We have done a lot today. I'm going to, oh wow, I feel like my face is really up in that screen. Sorry about that. Let's stop sharing. I am just so grateful that you came along with me on this journey. This started last week with a name coming to me in the night. So if you need a pen, these little Muji pens are great. Put a pad of paper by your bed and just pray and then just wait for a name to come into your mind. I had that name, Lars, Beria Anderson, come in and we just made a discovery. And now actually, before we go, I'm going to take you back. Let's do this together. I'm allowed to share your screen. Let's go back in and let's go back to my dear friend, Carl. I do. I consider them my friends. I'm so grateful to be a part of this. So I'll show you something that I like to do. If I have a whole family that I want to reserve, I can click view tree. And for him, it's just him and his wife because his daughter was born too late for us to do the work right now because of the time. We're in descendancy view, but if you switch it to landscape, then you can scroll in. And I love seeing which ones. Look at all this work that's being done right now. There's a little green temple ready. There's some records that need attached. It gives me a really great place to work. So I started with one name and look at all the work that I have to do on this family. And so I can come in here and click on this little temple right here. And look at this. We've got these available. Kirsten, she's in the dots because she's not available right now because of the time period. So I can request. She would be available if she had a daughter that was a member of the church or a spouse, then they could do the work. So now you can see that the name has changed to blue. And that means I have it currently in my temple file. If I want to share it with the temple immediately so they do not have to wait, then I can come back into them individually and share it, or I can go to my temple file and share them. So I'm going to come into temple to my reservations. And this is a little bit easier. And it's not popping up at the top. The filter doesn't automatically do that. You have to come into filter, click ascending, and then we're going to do by date reserved. And then all of a sudden, here it is. So it's not automatically bringing it up to the top, but that's how you get your most recent ones. So I'm going to click on Carl Gustav and Berta. I'm sharing them all with the temple right now because I don't want them to wait on me, and I can always pull them back. So I click share with Temple, and share with Temple. And the great thing about sharing with Temple is that then when your family goes to reserve name using Ordinances Ready, they may end up with that. I ran into my sister at the Temple on Thursday night, and she had some of my names, some of my husband's names, same with her husband, because they just clicked Ordinances Ready. You might have a ward member that will be able to help you with that. So it really speeds it up, and it's better than I have 225, and I still need to get those shared. Some of them I am keeping because there's a special connection and I want to personally do them, but I can't do 225 in the next little bit. So the goal is to be like my friend Lois, who just gets everything shared. So Lois, I don't know if I've told you about it. She's 90 years old. I've got her on my wall back here, and she's done over 1,100 names in the last year. So that's how you do it. And we'll see you next week.